Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Pumpkin Spice, an all-new take on a classic chai. Robust and seasonal with organic black tea, ginger, nutmeg, allspice, and real pumpkin. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. All right, thank you all so much for watching again. Shout out The Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. I guarantee you're going to like it. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guests.
Hey, I'm Damian.
Hey, I'm Corey, and we are
Exceptional Failures.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you all so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, why don't
Pleasure
you
to
tell
be
us-
here.
We're going to go ahead and we're going to start individually. And we'll start over at this end.
Sure.
What got you into music initially?
I actually grew up with parents as musicians and artists. So my mom and dad were like 17 when they had me, and my mom essentially was a aspiring musician. My dad too.
Mhm.
They'd been in bands together, and as that progressed, and they split up, but my step parents were musicians for times. And just, I kind of grew up backstage.
Mhm.
So I spent most of my childhood like at big, like behind, backstage at like Rockfest, Ozfest, all the big concerts in Oregon and Washington, really. And so that kind of like really put me in the scene.
Mhm.
But I didn't actually start playing music until I was like actually playing music until I was 16. They set me up with like clarinet lessons when I was like in fifth grade.
What an intro.
Yeah.
We should bring that back.
We should. Yeah.
Like craziest rock shows, and they're going to give you the
Dude, I didn't.
woodwind and brass experience.
I was like, I thought it was kind of neat for a minute, and then I was like, oh, this is actually work. They want me to like do stuff, like learn things, and I wasn't really about that when I was in fifth grade.
Fair.
I was like, I just want to play.
Fair.
So I skipped all of my lessons and went to the Boys and Girls Club to play video games, and like I went to the ice cream place in the neighborhood to get like free samples.
Mhm.
When my big recital came up, I was just kind of like doing this in the crowd, and my parents are musicians, so they
So they
obviously
knew.
knew
Yeah,
that I
they
was
knew.
bullshit. So I was kind of like, after that, they're like, okay, dude, we're not going to pay for lessons anymore.
Yeah.
What have you been doing?
Ice cream and video games.
Ice cream and video games, man. I don't know. It
You're
was-
just making those experiences you're going to write songs about later.
Yeah, yep. But when I was in high school, we went to high school together.
Okay.
And we had a large group of friends that were all musicians or like, you know, playing music at that point in time.
Mhm.
And I wasn't in like I wasn't really in set bands, but we do like house show stuff, and I'd just be playing drums with friends. And really like what got me back into it was our buddy Dustin and our buddy Cameron and our friend Mick. They were in this band called Even in Paradise, and they were just killer.
They're really good.
Yeah, 16-year-olds, amazing. Like you could still listen to it and be like, wow, it's like good.
Oh, yeah.
But listening to Dustin play drums and like with Nirvana, like killing it at that point in time, I was just in awe by it. Like that powerhouse behind the drum set, like Dustin was just slamming
Dustin
drums.
was an awesome, still incredible drummer.
He's still in town. He still plays all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But those like with those big bands and like Dave Grohl, just listening to him and Mitch Mitchell, I just was really into music. That just wanted me to make that. They made me want to play drums. And so I just started playing with friends, and then just kind of, you know, snowballed after that. Just kept playing, really.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's cool that you had such a like open experience for music growing up.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that you waited until 16 to start like getting into it. Like that's actually when I started playing bass. So it's like, I get it, but that seems late given your surroundings.
Yeah, dude. I was like 13 at like these big rock concerts, and like the singer from Papa Roach would come up because I'd be helping like as a stagehand. Like I started working as a stagehand as like at 13, and like the singers for like Papa Roach and Limp Bizkit would come up and like thank you all for like being here, like super nice.
Yeah.
But as a 13-year-old, I was like, heck yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I just got a handshake. I haven't been doing much. I just pushed the cases around, but that was a cool high five.
Yeah, you were there. You were there.
Yeah.
Did you, you wouldn't happen to have worked Ozfest in Seattle in 2005, would you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, just making sure, because I may or may not have been, that was my very first show.
These were the ones in the gorge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big, like, it was crazy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of intense.
Well, that sounds like quite the experience for sure.
Yeah, for fun. Really intense for a 13-year-old just watching like a sea.
Yeah.
Just getting wild.
I mean, festivals like that are intense.
Yeah.
Even now.
Yeah.
But as a kid, it'd just be like, what is humanity?
Yeah, right?
I stage dived off a Van Halen. I think it was a Van Halen show. I was like 5 years old. But it was at Pioneer Square, and I like
could have just yeeted you into the stage.
I got a huge concussion. Well, I fell off the stage. I like stage dive, but I was like,
but you took a little bit.
I just fell off the stage. Yeah.
I guess it is less elegant when you put it that way.
You know, but I call it a stage dive.
Hell yeah. Well, we're gonna edit that so it was. Hell yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. Let's go ahead and hear a little bit from you.
I guess my parents weren't performing musicians, but they were both musicians. My dad's a great guitarist, singer, pretty much. He had not performed with me. I'm in a cover band with my dad.
Oh, cool.
It's awesome.
Hey, why not? Yeah.
One of the best things that ever happened in my like recent life is doing that. But anyway, he's a great guitarist, taught me a lot that I know about guitar. And then my mom was a singer. They used to be in a band together in the 70s called like, what was it? I should know this. It's like Dark Moon or something like that. I can't remember.
Is that how they met initially?
Moonshadow. That's what that was.
Okay.
No, they met in New Orleans. My dad is from New York, but he just like left home and went to New Orleans, and that's where he met my mom.
I'm learning that a lot of people from New York at that time just decided to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was just, whatever. You get the Wanderlust thing.
Oh yeah.
He wanted to go west.
Well, that's, we don't need to dig into their story too much.
That's
back.
They created me, so that's cool. Anyway, so at a young age, I think the first time I started playing music was my sister. They bought my sister a guitar, like one of those like first act pieces of crap, and she didn't play it at all.
Of course.
And so but I was like, I want to try. So that was my first experience. So I started playing that, and then my parents I was in like classical piano lessons, like a lot of kids at like 7 or something. And it was good, but it wasn't that inspiring.
No, it's very boring. It's like very boring as a child.
My teacher was great.
Yeah.
It was like very sweet, nice. But once I found guitar and rock and all that stuff, like
when you found out you could stand up and play something,
9 or 10 or something. I did end up coming around playing piano again later. But anyway, that was my start, and then I was in a band, my first band, when I was like 11.
Okay.
And we played some terrible raucous music. We actually played on KBOO at midnight on Friday a couple times. I still have the recordings. I sound like a chipmunk, like playing punk. It's pretty fun. Anyway, so I've been playing in rock bands since I was like 11.
Oh yeah.
And I'm 33 now. So
I dig that. It's cool that it's cool that both of you are like multi-generational musicians.
Yeah, we both definitely come from musical background.
Yep.
And then when did you two meet initially? Or I guess how did you two form the band?
Oh,
we were jamming. Damian hit me up to jam like years prior.
Yeah, I got so I was in the Marine Corps, and then I went to grad school in Philly, and then I came back, and I was so out of the scene. And so I hit Corey up just to play. Just to jam.
Yeah, we just get together like once a week, once every other week, and just pretty much just free jam, know, and record it a little bit, do weird mixes of it.
He was on keys. I think you were playing.
Yeah. Like I said, I did come back to keys. I studied keys at Portland State University, jazz program.
Really came back around.
That's what I mean. It's like this is the most guitar I played in this band in a long time. So
yeah. But
Yeah.
man, it was, I think like in his last band, there was like some stuff going on. So I like sat in and for drums for a little bit.
Yeah. We were like searching for a different drummer.
But then that,
And then that project fizzled out.
yeah.
We had a different drummer for a little bit, and then it's fine. It was a band for like 6 years. Dead Men
Good
Talk.
band.
Oh,
It was
good name.
Yeah, it was cool. It was
Great
like
band.
a 70s kind of rock band.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
But I think when that happened, he hit me up just to play, or one of us hit each other up. I can't remember, but it was us and our buddy Cameron, who's in a single man trio in town. Cameron Landers Trio, check it out.
It was cool
And
stuff.
his friend Casey. That kind of did not go well.
They really butted heads, those two.
Yeah. I don't want to like,
It's meant to be in a room.
Yeah, we don't need to
Yeah.
really dig into the.
but like
We're still
kind of,
friends with them.
yeah, that fizzled out, and then we still wanted to play, so we were just kind of like, okay, and we had a gig.
Ah, so
Yeah, we had a
you
gig
had to
booked.
play.
Yeah.
So it was like
New Year's Eve,
20.
a year.
Oh, it was a New Year's Eve gig?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So we had like 5 songs or 4 or 5 songs, but we were just kind of like, yeah, let's still do it.
Yeah.
And we did it, and it sounded good. And
I just got an octave pedal and I use like a bass amp
Mhm.
and a guitar amp.
yeah,
So to fatten it up. That's what like that was like. How are we gonna get the low end filled out? And so
Yeah.
and it worked.
Do you split with like a high pass filter, or do you just?
I don't split with a high pass filter. I roll off the top on the bass amp. So
Okay.
in a way, I do. But I've tried. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, we won't.
I
we
won't
get into that
too
now.
much
That's
details,
that's for later.
That's
in the
how we
Yeah.
played that show.
sounded good. Everyone,
sounded good.
everyone liked it, and we were like, okay, let's keep doing this. And
Yeah.
his wife was like, you should just change your name to Exceptional Failures, and we were like, that suits us.
That's a great name. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were we before?
Well, I wanted.
Sun.
I don't know. Cameron had I don't know, but Cameron had a great idea that we did not go with, which was Face Hole.
Face.
Really wanted it to be Face Hole.
That is actually a really good.
Isn't that pretty
name.
good?
Yeah.
Intense.
Definitely not the type of music
I was
we
gonna say
play.
not
Wouldn't work
not
for us,
applicable to
yeah.
your sound.
Yeah.
But a good
Great name. Great
Yeah.
name. I had a perfect idea for an album cover, which is like an open wide mouth,
Yeah,
which
right.
spirals. I don't know.
Oh.
It's like stretching beyond belief.
Oh. Well, if you want to start a band after the
There you go.
Face Hole it is.
hell yeah, no, I love that. And actually, funny enough, how the name came around is a later question, so we got that one out of the way early.
Yeah. It was great. It was very applicable, because we had lost 2 members and felt kind of like we're just like pulling it together, and we're like, well, that name works. It's like we failed, but we're exceptional. We're still like making it work. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it sounds like y'all are making the most with what you got for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then for this next question, this is just for a little bit of show continuity. This is one we ask everybody.
Sure.
And this first one, we ask it early, we ask it often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album y'all ever bought with your own money?
Oh Lord.
Who that did? I didn't download illegally. Wow. Oh my! You don't want to know this
I
answer.
do want to know this answer.
I'm super curious, actually.
Okay.
I don't think we ever talked about this.
I wanted it to be like a Dr. Dre, Eminem, The Chronic. I wanted it to be that.
Funny enough, 50% of the answers are Eminem.
Wow.
Here's the thing. I had to go, when I do this, I'd go to the mall with my grandma,
Mm-hmm.
and she was not having it. Or my aunt was there with us. My aunt totally CD blocked me. It was one of those CD stores at the mall.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm getting The Chronic. And my aunt was like, no, you're not. You're in 5th grade.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm like, okay, so let's go with a different one. And for some reason, they still let me get this one. It was the Cisco album with the thong song.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. No, I'm just joking.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was
I really feel that in your.
yeah.
What was that album called? Do you remember the name of the album? I didn't even know that
remember.
was on an album.
It was.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Is the cover
Whole album.
Oh,
a butt or something?
I don't,
it's probably
dude.
just
I just
Cisco.
remember. Here's
I
the
imagine.
worst part: is my grandma wanted to listen to the whole album with me.
oh no.
So I had to sit in a room with my grandma, listening to the whole Cisco album, including the thong
That's
song.
when you put it on a CD player with a remote and you don't tell her there's a remote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was interesting experience.
What was her thoughts on the
Yeah,
thong
seriously.
song?
He actually liked the whole album.
I mean,
Yeah.
the song
She was
a
very sweet
banger.
woman.
Is your
Yeah.
grandma that lives in Eugene?
Well, I had to.
Okay,
This
so
grandma's
I met one
since
here.
passed away.
Oh, okay.
But she was an amazing human.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's
that was it.
solid first album experience.
Yeah.
Definitely never gotten that answer.
I figured you wouldn't have.
Yeah, hell yeah. And then what about you?
The first one I bought, I'm pretty sure, was Astro Lounge by Smash Mouth.
Okay,
Nice.
But I,
little more at the line there.
yeah, it's not that as surprising. But I remember also receiving as a gift, like one of the most important early albums I ever got was Blood Sugar Sex Magic. I was really young, and my sister's boyfriend at the time, who was like a cross-dresser and he actually played Frankenfurter in the local Rocky Horror Picture Show thing. Anyway, he like gifted that to me on my birthday when I was like 9 or 10, and my parents were like, because like the cover, I mean, it has sex in the name. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like what you were talking about with the Chronic. It's like very intense,
very evocative.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Yep.
and a great album.
Yeah, no, that was in my household growing up.
Funk
Yeah,
stuff. It's really cool. Yeah.
and a little bit. I feel like there's a little bit of influence that in your sound now.
Yeah,
But we'll dig into that in a little bit as well. And then the other one we have, like I said, for continuity, what was the first live show you ever went to? That was one you wanted to go to. So like, obviously you got brought to a bunch of them, but what was the first one you were like, this show is happening. I need to go to it. I want to go to it. You went to it. And whoever wants to
You
go
know?
first on this
I
one.
do know.
Go for it.
Well, so there's two for me. I don't know which one came first, but the one that I absolutely know, I was like really into the Offspring.
Okay.
I loved that band. Like Big Stink, I'd go to every Big Stink because my stepdad would be working and they'd always play it. And I was just like loving that. But before that, I went to, they were coming into town, and I think like Floater was going to be opening for them or something like that. But I was really into the Kids Aren't All Right song. Like I just loved that song.
Yeah.
Loved it. And so I forced my stepdad to get tickets to it because at that point in time and for a long time, I could get tickets to anything for free.
Yeah.
And only in the last 5 to 10 years did I ever start paying for tickets, and waiting in line, which weirded me out. I didn't like it. And so
Hang out with us common folk.
oh, it's horrible. It is not great. Sometimes I can still get into Crystal shows, but it's horrible because the line is super long.
Yeah.
And you get
You
up,
have to show up super early.
you just walk right in, and people are like visibly pissed off that you're just walking in. And I just like, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm not waiting in this line.
Yeah.
So the Offspring show, and then there was another one at La Luna. Do you remember that venue?
Roughly. Yeah.
So it was Eve 6
Oh, no.
and Lit and maybe Everclear.
Okay.
And I took one of my like 6th grade friends to that show, and that was
Sounds great.
epick.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it was really fun.
I saw Everclear live once.
Yeah,
They were pretty
really
right?
good. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
those are the two that I remember. Yeah.
I mean, both quality options for
Lit
sure.
is like, wanna put your tender heart in the blender. Is it that? Isn't there? Don't they do that song? I can't
yeah,
remember.
I think they
can't
do.
remember. I'm trying to place
They do. Yeah, it's been a while.
I remember all those names, but I can't.
Yeah, like I
the
can't
hit
put them
songs
to
with-
the songs they
Yeah, I
came
gotta
from.
look at him.
Yeah.
Back
but I
in
love
the radio only era of things. It was
Yeah.
hard to like place all those.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. And then what about you?
Mine was. I guess this wasn't. It wasn't like my own volition though, so I guess that's hard. I can't think of my first own volition show, but it doesn't really matter because the show was great. I saw the Bare Naked Ladies. They were
Okay.
actually awesome. Put on an amazing show.
Yeah, very
I
much
saw
so.
David Bowie at a pretty young age.
Yeah,
which
that's
was, like,
dope.
I mean, he's a legend.
I think whether you know it or whether anybody knows it or not, they will have wanted to have seen David Bowie
David Bowie,
before and after.
he was
You know
like,
what I mean?
he was like in his like mid late 60s, and he was like running and jumping,
Yeah.
and like it was impressive. Yeah,
Yeah, I got to
just like I hope I'm that. I want to be that.
right. Yeah,
Now
that's
and
right.
when I'm that age, that would be great.
I mean, dude, look at Billy Idol now. Like,
I
dude
haven't
still
seen him recently.
crushes.
Yeah.
Like he's I think he's pushing nearly 70 now.
Yeah.
On that, but he's getting up there.
Yeah.
And like you would never believe what age he is or isn't. Just looking at him, it's so strange. But yeah, same thing. He's just got all this energy and like vitality in the performance.
Yeah.
But I think when you make a certain amount of money, you can just start putting all the things in your body that are like made for your body.
And we're being really like super health conscious and like, you don't have to worry. Yeah.
Also, I think the drugs were cleaner back then.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, you know. Hell yeah.
I also remember going to I won't go too far into it, but I went to like the Vancouver Folk Festival when I was really young. And that was like my first like festival experience. And that was freeing and amazing. I mean, it was just like, you know, you wander from stage to stage. Probably the first time I was like getting stoned and just walking around in the sun and like, I mean, yeah, great experience.
No, it's a whole other world. That my first show was Ozfest 2005.
Dude,
who played that?
The headliners were, you know, I can't remember if it was Ozzy or Black Sabbath, but you know, go in reverse.
Yeah, I would.
Ozzy or Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Black Label Society.
Nice.
In Flames. Iron Maiden, and Mudvayne.
Dude,
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good line.
Yeah, I wasn't even the biggest Mudvayne fan going into it, and when they were done, I was like, I get it now. These guys are bananas.
Yeah.
And it just got progressive. Like it was them, and then Black Label Society, and then In Flames, and then Iron Maiden, and then Ozzy Sabbath. Like it it kept getting wilder and wilder.
That was an intense time for rock.
It really was. I mean, the other stage was like Arch Enemy, As I Lay Dying, Rob Zombie. Like and I mean a million other bands I'm just not remembering at the moment because I was so young. But yeah, just what a time.
Yeah.
I remember
that festival atmosphere or just being at a big show is like, at a young age, you're just like, this is where it's.
They all have their different.
I just remember that feeling.
Too.
Yeah.
Like there was the rock fest they used to do out in Estacada. I think that's where they did it at least. But that would be intense.
Yeah.
Like the crowd would just be like, I don't think I'd ever go to that show now.
It's like moshing, and like dangerous.
Oh my God. But at that time, I enjoyed it really. I didn't have to be in the crowd though. I could just
you could just watch the people.
The chaos.
I'd be like sitting like 10 feet from Godsmack as they'd be playing, or like Static X was awesome. And I had like Liberty Spikes. So I was just like idolizing them. I was like, you guys are the Spike Masters. Like, I love this. Yeah. It was good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, now let's go ahead and let's dive on into y'all in the current day. Let's get to know a little more of the group. And like I said, usually this is where we lead with how'd y'all pick the name, but it sounds like we've covered that already. So let's get into your writing process. And we're going to kind of take it in chunks, but we're going to start right at the beginning. How do y'all go about getting a track started?
It slightly varies, but the majority of our tracks, I usually come up with the kernel of it.
Okay.
How do I come up with the kernel of it? Sometimes it starts with lyrics. Sometimes it starts with, I guess most commonly it starts with like either a line or like a catchy melody in my head. Like if I'm just like walking around or driving, I'll just come up with like a little, like a or something like that. And then I'm like, okay, that could work. And then I'll build off of that, write lyrics. Sometimes I write full lyrics first, like it's a poem.
Oh,
and then I'll work off of that. So I try different angles. And then sometimes we just come up with like Cherry Mist, one of our songs. Like he was just like, what if we wrote a song called Cherry Mist that's about some like weird thing, and then it's kind of like a beat and like just like a general thing. So yeah, we try different things, which I think leads down different roads. Like it keeps it really pretty eclectic.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
You ever start drums first?
No.
We should try that.
We could try that.
Don't quote me on this. I believe it was Drift Away in a past episode. Shout out Drift Away if it was y'all. Who they had just recently experimented with that. They have a few more members in the band, but the drummer wrote all the drums for the track first.
Cool.
Like full like bell the buzzer, beginning, middle, end, everything.
It's a cool idea.
And then they went in and they like wrote based off of the space that was, and then like periodically they'd be like, hey, can you like move this fill to here? Can you add in an extra thing for this? But they said that it actually roadmapped the song really well for them. And they were going to continue to like take that approach in the future.
We should definitely try that.
Yeah.
It's just another avenue to explore. And I'd be very curious to know how that worked in a two-person setting for sure.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not like I'm more like a riff person. The whole song like concept for me is a little bit too grand for like the way that I play music. Cause I'm either like, I can come up with some really cool riffs. I can come up with really cool ideas. I can kind of like give ideas for lyrics, but for me, music's always been kind of more like in the moment.
Okay.
I feed off the vibe of the room or like the people I play
Gotcha.
with.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that's just like, I would love to try it. I don't know if it'd be a good song.
We should give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, any part of the creative process, even when it doesn't work, I almost feel like I gain more from an idea that doesn't pan out.
Yeah.
You're like, cool, now I have like 4 out of 5 pieces that did work, just not together. So we're going to throw away this 5th one and the 4 becomes something completely different.
Also be just during the process being willing to let things go that maybe you liked it, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like things like that. Cause if I construct like a whole song, like on an acoustic guitar or something like that, and then bring it to the band, it's like, I never assume it's going to stay intact.
No, totally.
You can't.
It's
you know what I mean?
Apart. Yeah.
And then I'm always open to like, if he has an idea or I have an idea or whatever for drums, guitar, whatever. We're pretty good about like bouncing back and forth and just,
No, I think that's
it's a really good dynamic.
That's super healthy to have. And just it's cool when you hear somebody else have an idea. That's something that like even you can try.
Yeah.
Like in my old band Smooth Talk, we used to like be like, hey, I have an idea for you to play. It's like something along the lines of like
mouth.
and can you play like if you can play that, can you try that for me?
Yeah, totally. He'll mouth like a guitar.
Yeah.
Like, all right. Yeah.
It's the willingness. Like there's been so many times where I'd be like, hey, can you try this? And after I hear it, I'm like, oh, it's bad.
Yeah.
Totally. It sounded great in my head. It sounded bad in live. And it wasn't because they would my guitarist wouldn't play an idea badly.
Yeah.
No.
He would play it genuinely so I could hear it.
Yeah.
And then leave it up to me to decide if my idea landed or not. And vice versa. He might be like, hey, for your bass line, can you do this?
Yeah.
And it's cool when those ideas work and it's okay when they don't.
Absolutely.
I think what's the nice part about some of that with us is I don't think we've ever disagreed. Like when we're working through a new song and there's a part that feels off, we both feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're generally on the same.
Well, I mean, again, when there's only the two of you that it's
you gotta
50%
fill the
of
gap.
the input. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Hell yeah. And then when it comes to writing in general, like, obviously, you have a handful of songs on Spotify and they're all a little bit different, but they kind of still live in this same realm.
Sure.
Do you ever like try to write towards like a specific vibe or like specific sounds like more objectively, or like
Sometimes.
Are you just kind of open to whatever?
Sometimes, like the song "Too Long." I think literally we were like, we should write a slower blues song. You know what I mean? Like quite literally, we were like, we should play. We like most of our songs are pretty upbeat or like intense. And it's like, let's write one that's more laid back.
I was going to say it did have a slightly different contrast to Cherry Mist for sure.
Yeah. Yep. So sometimes, I mean, in general, I try to just like go with whatever I'm feeling at the time. But sometimes I come into it with a different mindset like that.
Well, I tend to think about it in terms of because some of our songs are like pretty brutal, like physically to play. And I need a break.
Yeah.
I feel that.
So like trying to sparse in like ones like Too Long, even though that can get kind of heavy live at least. Because we do play a lot of our songs slightly different live.
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think if people are going and they only hear exactly what's on the album, they could have stayed at home. Like, the show has to be like something to talk about.
Yeah.
Underwhelming.
Yeah.
Like,
That's not to say it would sound bad if you did it the way that it was recorded, but like changing it up and having people be like, oh man, they like rearranged this or they did that. It makes a difference.
A prime example of that little offshoot is I'm a bartender and I worked Fleet Foxes, and it sounded immaculate. Like it sounded like the record, but it was so boring.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even need to watch it. Like there was no enjoyment from watching it. Listening to it, it was great, but it was like that. It was like exactly what you're talking about. It's like a cookie cutter album, perfect performance. But I was like, I wouldn't have paid to if I knew that's what it was.
Underwhelming for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
anyway.
And then actually, that segues perfectly into this next one.
Ooh.
On an individual level. So, any order you'd like, but one at a time. What is your favorite song to perform?
Ooh.
And it's not like this is the best song of the set. Like, what is one that just has that moment where you just want to lean into it a little bit extra?
We have a lot of good moments. I honestly feel that.
I would hope you feel that way about most of your music in general.
Yeah. For me, if I'm feeling like, if we're feeling like the vibe is really tight, it's a little bit more intimate, like at the venue, Too Long, because I can kind of feel like when you really get into the zone in music, at least for me, you can feel this like thing creep up your body.
Yeah, you're like locked.
Yeah.
Like it's like a tingle, but it's like a hand, like a tingling hand, and it's grabbing you and it's saying you're doing it right.
Yeah.
So if I can get that, I know that for me is like the best I'll ever feel playing music. And I can get that with Too Long, not every time, but
Too Long when it lays into like the heavy solo parts or like
Hell yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
That I agree with you. That is a really good description of it.
Yeah. Where you're just like, for me, it's hard, but potentially there's a new one that hasn't been released, so people aren't gonna like be able to look it up yet, but they will in a couple months. We're gonna record it.
Well, they'll have to go see you live to hear it.
Yeah, you'll have to come out. It's called Come Undone, and it's a newer one. And there's a few moments in that and throughout. I don't know. It just it's really dynamic. It gets really sentimental, kind of like pull your heartstrings, and then it like really hits hard, heavy stuff. So
hell yeah,
it's really satisfying to play. And when we nail it, it's like I feel like people in the audience are like, "Whoa, that's intense."
Yeah.
You know?
I love that. Yeah, that sounds rad.
Yeah.
Definitely have to come see y'all play now. So
Yeah.
check it out.
It's a good song.
And I guess for this next one, this is not exactly a question I have formatted, but I'm kind of curious because again, we've mentioned it a few times. Y'all are a duo. There's only the two of you, so 50% of the performance is on each of your shoulders.
Yep.
Like, does that feel like is it more easy to notice like when the two of you aren't super dialed in? Do you try to put extra emphasis on making sure you are dialed in? Like, how do you go about keeping that locked in?
That's hard. It definitely, if we're off, you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
for
like
sure.
it's either we're gonna play a great set or it's just gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're all human, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody expects a perfect show 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know how to answer that any
We
better.
don't do a good I can tell you right now, we're both so in our own heads before we go on that it tends to work out most of the time because I feel like we're both thinking about the same like things, like maybe same anxieties about it, but we don't have like routines. Like I've watched the Black Keys.
Maybe we should.
We should probably.
I don't. Maybe you're bringing up something that we should.
I know.
I mean, I think in general, we lock in and play really well. But if we're not locked in, you're right. The 2-piece thing where it's very exposed, stripped down.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a hard, like,
it's fun though. That
it
makes
is fun. It does make it
kind of that like danger aspect of like,
no, totally.
You know, it's like if you mess up hard. If you play really well, it's impressive. It's like,
Yep.
And I think there's a little bit of ownership in making a mistake while performing.
Yeah.
Like I think that
make it purposeful.
Yeah. Well, I think as long as you can roll out of it and like acceptingly, as long as you're like, I made a mistake, but I'm not going to hinder the performance from it. I know where my time is. I know where I'm supposed to be. I'm getting.
Yeah.
I think the recovery is the more impressive part of a mistake than just not making mistakes.
Yep.
I remember seeing a video recently that was like the Arctic Monkeys or something.
Yeah.
And the lead dude is like, he does a solo and he just like butchers. He's an amazing guitarist.
Yeah,
They're a great band, but it's like a terrible solo.
I mean, sometimes the fingers and the brains
is so funny because he just looks like, he's just like, wow, you know, he's just like, I can't, you know.
He's like, I gotta get some more sleep tonight for sure.
I'm sure the rest of the show was amazing, or it was just like a fluke thing. But like you said, it was like people know. If people know that you're talented and you're like putting your heart into it, like if you make a mistake, it's like, you're human. It's almost like, and then we're also called exceptional failures.
Yeah, so it's
a nice
right
umbrella. Just like any mistake we make, we're
in the name.
You get what you pay for.
You know, I've told this story on past episodes, but I was watching Metallica's Binge and Purge tour, and on DVI, I wasn't there, but they were like performing in Mexico, and at one point, James Hetfield forgot the words to Ride the Lightning, like on stage in front of a million people, a billion people, 1,000 trillion people, so many people, and while playing, he's like, I forgot the fucking words. Nice. And then just keeps rolling. And just everybody lost their shit.
Yeah.
Because he owned it. You know
Human
what I mean?
moment.
Yeah, like this is.
They're not
like,
machines.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I can't remember the words to every Metallica song. Why should I expect him to as well?
You think about like somebody like Bob Dylan or something, like with the.
Just with a catalog.
Verses, it's like 8-minute songs. I'm like, how do you?
I imagine they have to have like just well-recessed teleprompters.
Maybe, probably.
You know what I mean? Like maybe not like karaoke level.
Early on, he didn't.
Keywords.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, early on, I assume they have less songs too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Or not. He just comes packed with like 50.
Just his first album is 50 songs. Never writes another
These
one.
since I was a baby.
That's actually an idea. Just write the largest album ever and just tour with that as your catalog forever. For the rest of time.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Somebody do that. Somebody do that.
Should.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Now let's go ahead. I want to talk about 2 of your tracks. And they've both been mentioned already. And that's Too Long and Cherry Mist.
All right.
That came out this year.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, Too Long was fun. It's got that very like classic meets modern vibe, but like it didn't feel like you were trying to do throwback.
Yeah.
It felt like these are the sounds that influenced you and you owned them. Like I said, I even sensed a little Chili Peppers in there and everything.
Yeah, I could see that.
And it was really big. It actually, I felt like it had a fair amount of energy for being one of your less quote unquote energetic songs.
Yeah, it's
comparatively.
It still lays in pretty hard.
But what was like the influence behind it? What was the like, how did that song come to be?
I mean, like I said earlier, it was like we wanted a slower kind of blues thing. So the music, so with that in mind, this was one that I wrote the lyrics first. I didn't have like the riff in mind or the guitar part in mind. And I was just, I had been working construction for about 2.5 years, like running my own business thing. And it was good in some ways, but just like really exhausting on an emotional and physical level.
Yeah.
So, and it was just a dismal Portland winter evening after working one of those shifts, doing some kind of bullshit job. No offense to the people that I worked for. Like they were great. But, I went to the B-side bar on Burnside and 8th or something. And that's where I wrote the lyrics to that. It's just, I was just feeling really low, and I don't know how else to describe it.
Fair.
I think a lot of people have been there, where you're just really tired, kind of fed up with where your daily life is at.
Yeah.
And I was just like leaning into that, and that's what the lyrics are about.
Oh yeah. And then once you did that and brought it to you, how did you feel about it? What was like your?
I loved it. I love the blues. For me, I mean, I've been working since I was 13. So I immediately connected with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've just been pushing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been incredibly lucky in my life. I've had a lot of great opportunities, but I have been working forever.
Yeah.
And I've just been going full speed for a long time.
Too long?
Yeah. Too long for sure.
Wait a second.
Yeah. And coming from a family of musicians, I'd come home every couple of weeks. I'd come home, my mom be in tears because she couldn't pay the bills. So
Yeah.
I connected with that on like a deeper level. Same level as him to a certain extent. And for me, it just helped lay into the drum piece a little bit because there's like that sadness there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you haven't been sad in your life,
You're not living
out.
Yeah, you're missing it.
A lot of Elliott Smith in my youth.
He's great.
But just having that blues song available just to kind of sink into like a deeper groove in the set was really nice. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, it's like when we get to the heavier parts, the slower tempo, there's just a lot more space. You know what I mean? So it's like, we can really kind of let loose. Like you were talking about when we play it live, it's like, it can be one of our strongest ones just because it's like, it really,
you really get to
there's a lot of emotion from both of us going into those parts if we nail it. And it's anyway.
Hell yeah. And then for Cherry Mist, that one obviously
The
a
other
little
side.
more bouncy.
Different.
Other side of the spectrum.
What was same questions? Tell us a little bit
Let
about
you
that
start
one.
with that because you were the
All right. So that song, me and our friend Stan, I've known Stan since middle school. Great
I've known him
artist,
since-
amazing human.
Mhm.
I've done a lot of projects with him. So has Corey. But we were just hanging out, drinking some beers in my house. It was late at night. We were just talking about random things.
Mhm.
And we just started saying random words to each other. And I think one of us said cherry mist. I honestly don't. Maybe I said cherry. Maybe he said mist. And I was like, and then we started talking about a cherry mist world where it's like kind of Teletubby-esque. And there's like
music video
there's like a
coming on.
screaming, like, and some of this stuff we couldn't get in the music video because it's just we don't have the budget.
Yeah, right.
It was very DIY. And we're like, yeah, there's going to be tiny, like, cherry. It's going to be raining cherries, and each cherry is going to have a screaming face in it. And there's going to be like a cherry sun that's popping up, and it's going to be like this really interesting face that's just making weird sounds. We didn't actually do that for the video, but that's kind of how we envisioned it. And I was like, dude, I'm going to bring this to Corey.
Yeah, this is all before I didn't even know.
I'm going to bring this idea to Corey. We're going to write a song called Cherry Mist. We're going to do this music video.
Damn.
And I was like, I showed up to Corey's and I was like, listen, we got to do this song. I told him the backstory. And I was like, these will be the lyrics. You just got to be like, Cherry Mist, dear.
Yeah, that was like the
Cherry Mist, I'm a dear. And that's all I gave him. And then he made the song.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. That's how that
And
song
it is
was created.
not about anything in particular. And the lyrics always change.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, I mean the chorus doesn't, the
Yeah.
Cherry Mist part, but all the verses, it's just like, I mean, there's ones I go to sometimes, but I make an effort to try and just like throw in random crap in there and just like,
It'd be funny if you had like 4 or 5 different versions of the lyrics written,
Yeah.
and people just had to figure out which version was coming up. Like they had to go to
they
shows
win a
enough.
prize if they.
Yeah, they had to go to shows enough that if you caught somebody singing along to all of it, they like got something, or like like fan of the year. Like
That'd be pretty good.
that is an interesting dynamic. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. So other than that, I mean,
That was
you
it.
pretty much summed it up. And then
Yeah.
I mean the energy of the song is just. I don't know what I was embodying. Just some kind of like '60s,
Yeah.
kind of Jimi Hendrixy soul thing.
No, I feel
It's
it for
just
sure.
Like
It's definitely a lot more bouncy.
screaming, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely got a little bit more of a like.
Just fun.
said, a
It's just
bounce
fun.
to it. Yeah.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it boils
We
down.
needed a fun song.
Just fun, weird
Yeah.
shit.
Hell yeah.
Which is a large part of like both of our personas. Like we don't come across that way, but when we're like
Yeah.
in or hanging out with friends or whatever, we get
No, I
weird.
think just like even the way y'all are talking about the music. I mean, it's cool because it feels very intentional. Like your decisions on the songs you put out, even off camera, the way we were talking about how you approach it. I think that shows that there is a level of care, but it's not like we have to be the biggest, bestest. That like it's care in the sense of the music is fun.
Yeah.
And that seems to be kind of built into all of your answers. So it's definitely obvious.
Yeah.
At least to me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Just genuine people. And we just want to,
Yeah.
I don't know, at least
Have fun.
Yeah, show up, play some instruments, have a good time.
Yeah.
have fun or just like we're not trying to be like cool or go for a certain sound. We're just trying to be the best version of ourselves,
We're in our 30s.
Yeah,
we're,
right.
we're not the cool young 20.
Yeah, right. We've both been through that phase, but
No, I totally get
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Now let's go ahead and we're gonna have a little more fun here.
All
We're gonna
right.
Move on to some hypothetical questions.
God.
And for these, sky's the limits. The questions are all made up and the answers are as well. But for this first one, we'll go individual and we'll start over at this end. If you could share the stage with any one band, so like y'all would be playing, another band would be playing, and it could be any band.
Wait, like
They
we're
just-
opening or we're playing with them?
Separate performances.
Okay,
but
got it,
Same
got it.
bill.
Cool.
And you don't have to be opening per se. That's totally up to you. But it can be any one act. The only caveat is they have to be currently performing.
Great.
Who would you pick?
I have a whole list, but I'm just going to go with Idols.
Okay.
Yeah,
Love
really.
Idols, dude. I
Hell yeah.
love Idols. They're so good, man. Just there's so much energy with their performance, and it feels so raw
Yeah.
that I just like can't get enough of it.
Have you gotten to see him live yet?
No, I want to.
We should go see him live.
Yeah, it would be great.
Hell yeah.
There's like a whole other like long list of bands, but like up there is Idols for sure.
That would be a rad show
Yeah,
for
that would be
sure.
awesome.
Hell yeah.
I would just retire after that.
There's some shows that you're like, all right, I've made it.
We're done.
Yep. Hell yeah. And what about you?
Oh God, I haven't settled on one, but I guess maybe I don't know.
Ooh. All right, we'll come back.
Yeah, it's hard. Most of like my favorite like bands I idolize are no longer performing, or there's members dead.
Fair.
I'm a retro kid. Current though. Wait, I can come up with one.
Ooh.
Probably. Let's just go with like Spoon.
Okay.
Spoon would be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I think they make really consistently just like amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Put out a lot of records, and all of them are really good in their own right.
Hell yeah.
And
Have you ever seen them live?
I have.
All right, then you would know.
They're really good live. I don't know that they're better live than recorded, which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's what comes to mind.
Yeah. I mean, those are both solid.
That is
answers.
true. He listens to mostly
Mostly Spoons.
vintage music. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a total 60s,
Yeah.
70s.
Yeah.
You know, hey, if that's the sound you enjoy, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, I listen to modern stuff too, but
Yeah.
not probably more. I listen to more old stuff than, but I do listen to modern stuff too. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then subsequently, and we'll start at this end this time. Who is a local act that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to share the stage with yet, but you would like to?
I've always wanted to play with. This is kind of an older Portland act at this point, but Quasi. You ever heard of Quasi? It's the drummer from Sleater Kinney.
Oh.
And another dude, and I've seen them live a couple times, and they're like one of the best live shows I've seen in general. If
The drummer's name again?
Janet Weiss.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, they're still performing. That'd be awesome to play with them.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, 40 Feet Tall.
Yeah.
Great.
Ooh. Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
I think we're probably not cool enough.
You know,
We're working
Having-
with the same mixing engineer.
Oh God.
I was going to say, having interviewed a million people at this point,
Yeah.
I guarantee you that perception is very
Yeah, they're
one-sided.
Yeah.
That's from only the people who don't think they can get those opportunities.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how often people are just like, I would play with more people if more people just said something. So
Yeah.
you never know.
That
You
is
never
true.
know. DMs are always open to everybody.
Yep. We've
Yeah.
played with the Max before. We
Yeah, they're killer.
played before them at this music festival.
Oh, hell yeah.
Really good. They're a really good band too.
They put on a really good show too. They got the it's always nice when there's a front person that really works the crowd, and he definitely does. So.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think the
And they're a
bassist
great band.
pulled up and he was just wearing a leopard skin Speedo. I was like,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah. Hey,
you're doing that.
If it works, it works.
It did.
Leopard print must be a bassist thing too.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
I used to have a pair of leopard print silk underwear
Nice.
that I would wear every show.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Because inevitably, in younger ages, pants didn't always stay up the right way.
Yeah.
At least if people were going to see something, it was a talking point.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, hell yeah. And then for this next one, this is kind of open up to the room, whoever thinks of an answer first. But if your music could be in the soundtrack of any movie,
Ooh.
what movie would you want it to be in?
Do you have an idea?
I don't know. Maybe
Old or current?
Any movie.
I would love to be in soundtrack of any Quentin Tarantino movie.
I was totally going to say Pulp Fiction for you.
Yeah, Pulp
that was
Fiction.
definitely in my head.
Yeah.
Or any of those the B movie or Death Trap.
Ooh.
Stuff would be cool.
Ooh. Any Nick Cage movie.
That's actually a really good answer.
Any of them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just any Nick Cage movie.
Damn. Yeah. That.
Awesome.
It's funny because I was trying to run through and see if I could pick one real quick to put it to, and you're right. It kind of works with all of them.
Yeah. Any of them.
Damn. That's a good answer.
They're all good.
Good answer.
I might start broadening the question to just actor movies.
Actor,
or something.
yeah.
That feels a little more broad, but
Yeah.
Damn,
I almost
I love
wore a
that.
Nick Cage shirt.
that would have been. I mean, the Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles is pretty rad.
Yeah,
Don't get
it's
me wrong.
it's a Cage Fighter shirt, and each one's a different Nick Cage.
so good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. My favorite one is Bees Or just a bunch of bees like attacking him.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Damn. Well,
Yeah.
now we're sad it's not here.
I know.
Send the shirt and we'll just edit it
I
on
will,
to you
yeah.
later. No.
Perfect.
Hell yeah.
Contact Nick Cage.
Should.
Oh, yeah.
Should.
Hey, Nick, if you want to be on the show, everybody at Nicolas
Please.
Cage in the comments.
Yes,
Let's
at
make this
Nick
happen.
Cage.
Amazing. Yeah.
Come to me.
Come to me.
And then to wrap up the hypothetical questions, if you could add one abstract instrument to the band.
Abstract.
Yeah, so not just like, not the standard like keys or another guitarist or a bass player. Like, think outside the box.
Dude, I'm going electric flute.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like a regular flute, but plugged into like a distorted amp. Just rip in.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He's like, hell no.
No, I
that's
think
fine.
I think you
about,
might
like-
have possibly sold him on this.
Yeah.
That looks
Yeah.
like those look like the eyes of
Yeah.
possibility right there.
I feel like it's got to be, I agree, electrified, distorted.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because like that, we just have that sound, but maybe like an electric cello or an
Oh.
upright
That would be
bass.
cool too.
Okay.
Yeah. that'd be
Yeah.
cool, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Something like that would be cool. Flute would be cool too.
Yeah.
There's another
Not
duo.
that weird of an instrument though. I feel like we should need to choose something really weird, like
I mean, those are I guess
distorted glockenspiel or nose flute
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
There's a
I'm
harp.
Hand
I'm
whistle.
sticking with flute.
Hand flute.
I
Yeah.
Distorted
I'm going
hand
flute.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean,
I'll stick with
Jethro
my answer
Tull.
too. It's fine.
I'm super curious what
Realistic.
that would end up sounding like in the end, because that
Yeah.
would be quite an experience. I think
Yeah.
both of those editions would definitely be
We should get both.
unique in
Yeah.
their own way for sure.
That would be
I was
good.
gonna say, I think one of the people from Goose Don't Be Frightened played not electric, but upright bass originally.
Nice. Yeah.
Reach out to them, see if they're
Upright
still
bass
doing
is
it. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, that would
I
be
mean, when you know how to play it,
It's
you
so
know how to play it.
big.
Yeah, you really have to
It's like-
commit to it. It's such a girthy instrument.
Transport. Every time I see anybody transporting those, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
And electric
Like
ones are
moving a piano.
expensive.
Yeah.
There's no like affordable electric option.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Hell yeah. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start wrapping things up.
Cool.
What can we look forward to between now and September?
A lot.
Yeah, we got a lot going on. You want to bounce back and forth?
Sure.
We got-
Well, we're going into the studio with Cameron Spies to do at Trash Treasury recording in Portland.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to hopefully record 3 songs. If we can nail it in time, because we're trying to maximize studio time.
Yeah. Yeah.
we got like 2 days booked.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll add
You could
one
do-
more.
You could do 3 songs.
I
in
think
2
we
days.
can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're a 2-piece. It's not like
Yeah, for sure.
That's our first thing. We're releasing a new single, Bluest to Blue, on April 5th, which will be pretty neat.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to film a video for that as well coming up in the next week or so.
Yeah.
That's
Gonna go.
exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I won't disclose too much.
Yeah.
Should be interesting. We don't really have a full concept. It's going to be a
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
wild ride, but it should be really fun.
It's about houselessness, so it's like hard to
Yeah, it's
make
a heavy
video
topic.
about that
Yeah.
appropriately.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So
it's definitely got to be tasteful.
we're trying to do it.
Yeah, you can't really make it
but-
funny. You can't make it like, so we'll see.
Yeah, but all proceeds from that song are going to be going to a nonprofit in Portland.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then we
Tour.
are doing a tour, a West Coast tour this
Oh,
summer.
shit.
I mean,
That's
it's like
exciting.
I guess we haven't fully announced it
we
yet.
haven't fully announced it yet, but this will be, a little soft
Coming
announcement.
up, yeah.
About 3 weeks down the West Coast.
Okay.
July or
Yeah.
August time period.
That's awesome.
LA Bay Area,
Yeah.
some other spots.
Yeah. Playing with some really awesome bands. Painful to set up.
Yeah, the book.
Very much so. Yeah.
It's like
you did. You took it all that.
reaching out to
I helped a little
venues
bit.
is like brutal.
It can be like pulling teeth
Yeah.
for sure. I used to book all the shows for Smooth Talk, and that was, yeah.
It's a lot of back
Especially when
and
it's in
forth.
different city, like when you're not just like, hey, we could be there next Tuesday. Like when you're like, hey, 6 months from now,
Yeah.
we're gonna need to make sure that we're
Yeah.
gonna be there.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
But we do have a show. We're going to be, this is the one I'm really looking forward to.
Ooh.
We're going to be opening for an Australian, I don't know if we're opening, but we're playing before them, for an Australian Poison cover band at
Whoa.
the Whiskey A Go-Go.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be a
So
blast.
I'm stoked for that.
I mean, they have to be good enough They have to be good if they get here from Australia. Man,
That should be
That's
super
gonna be
fun.
fun.
Yeah,
that's gonna be really fun.
Also, this is not related to anything at all, but I was definitely just talking about Poison yesterday,
Yeah.
like the band. So that's
Yep.
what a cool correlation.
Yeah.
So that sounds like that's going to be a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the big things coming up.
Our next local show is April 14th? 13th.
Okay.
Saturday
night. And that's with two bands from Seattle.
Yeah.
And that should be really fun. It's at Zero Wave
Mold Mom
on
and
Killingsworth.
Swamp Wife.
Whoa.
Yeah, the names are great.
I'm stoked for that one.
Those could technically be the same thing.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That's
I'm, like,
exciting.
stoked
That
for
should be really fun.
Yeah.
And it's actually in the back of, I don't know if you've heard of Zero Wave. It's like
A vintage store.
clothing. Yeah, it's a clothing
Oh,
store. They have a venue space in the back.
Hell yeah.
So
That's
it's going to
definitely
be
becoming
super,
more of
like
a thing
house
for
show DIY vibe, which should be really fun.
Hell yeah. Well, definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
And then for this next one, go ahead and look straight at the camera and tell everybody how they can find y'all.
You can find us on all the things. We're on Instagram. We have a website. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. You just search for Exceptional Failures.
Yeah, if you Google search exceptional failures, many things will pop up. But yeah, those
Give us a like. Check out the videos. Our videos are really quirky and fun.
Hell yeah.
I think anybody would enjoy at least one of them. So.
yeah.
And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else y'all want to put on while you're on here?
I mean, my wife.
My partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jessica. I don't know. There's so many people I could thank. I don't know.
Fair.
Stan, Cameron Spies, all these people that have helped us out.
My
parents.
stepdad
Yeah,
helped
seriously.
out a lot too.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
And wait, she was the one who came up with the name, right?
Yeah.
She did come up with the name. It was something my stepdad said in passing.
Ah, gotcha.
And then she pulled it and was like, that would be a good name.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, hey, shout out.
Yeah.
All right. Now we've got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second. As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. I guarantee you're going to like it. And with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation. Whoever wants to answer first can. But what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side of things? So it's a deep cut. Not a lot of people have had an experience with it or interacted with it. But it's one you wish everybody did know.
I got something in mind.
You go for it.
I mean, that's hard. There's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many great lesser heard albums. This isn't that deep of a cut, but I feel like a lot of people probably haven't heard it. And it's The Woods by Sleater Kinney.
Okay. Hell yeah.
It was that was also one of the best live shows. Like when they were supporting that album, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so crunchy and dark and yeah, check it out.
So the one I've been listening, this is not even an album, it's just an EP. It's 2 songs, but they're freaking amazing. It's Frankie and the Witch Fingers, the Cookin' and Tracksuit.
Okay.
Those 2 songs, I just can't stop listening to them. I literally can't. When I teach high school and I played those 2 songs every period for like 2 days because I wanted everyone to hear it.
Yeah.
I was like, I love this. I hope you do too. If you don't, we're still listening to it.
If you don't, you get an F.
How dare you?
That's a solid choice for sure.
Yeah, it's really good. Those are really good songs.
Hell yeah. All right, you guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You.
man.
Appreciate it.
And this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy,
And we're exceptional failures.
and we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap.
This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Keep jamming.